All right, so you guys really want to understand trauma and healing.
Oh, yeah.
And you've sent us on a deep dive with this interview.
Yeah, with Dr. Levine.
Dr. Peter Levine by Max Lugavere.
I'm Max Lugavere, that's right.
Yeah, and Dr. Levine, he's a pioneer in somatic experiencing.
He is.
And his perspective is honestly mind-blowing.
It really is. It's a fascinating take.
He doesn't just see trauma as PTSD.
Right.
It's not just that.
It's much broader than that.
He sees it as something that affects, like, our very core.
Yeah, our
Even without those, like, classic PTSD symptoms.
Right, exactly. And he calls it a wound to our life force.
Ooh.
Like our ability to truly be ourselves gets stifled.
Yeah, it's like our energy gets stuck somehow.
It does. It gets stuck.
And he shares a story from his own childhood.
He does. He does.
That really brings this home.
It's a powerful story.
So imagine you're like a 5 or 6 year old kid.
Okay, 5 or 6 years old.
And you're fascinated by your cousin's electrical warehouse.
Oh, I can imagine that.
All those wires and gadgets.
Yeah.
And you can't resist pocketing a buzzer and a button.
Of course not. Who could?
Right.
Yeah.
So he goes on to build this little world in a box.
He does. He's very creative.
Complete with a working doorbell.
A working doorbell. That's fantastic.
So creative, right?
Yeah.
But then his parents find out where he got the parts.
Oh.
They were furious.
Oh, no.
He gets interrogated, even physically punished.
Wow. Intense.
And now you would think that would be the trauma.
You would think.
But Dr. Levine says it wasn't the physical pain that stuck with him.
Really?
It was the betrayal.
The betrayal. That makes sense.
That sudden feeling that the world wasn't safe.
Yeah, that feeling of safety being shattered.
And think about it.
Yeah.
Haven't we all had those moments?
I think we all have.
Maybe not capital T trauma.
Right. Not a huge dramatic event.
But something that still feels like a wound years later.
It lingers, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
He even tells this story about a client who, as a kid, accidentally pulled a tablecloth.
Oh, no.
Sending dishes crashing.
Classic.
And apparently, the adult's reaction was so intense.
Oh, wow.
It left this lasting scar.
Really?
It's like even small events can have these ripple effects.
They can. Those little things can really stick with us.
They do.
Yeah.
And here's where Dr. Levine gets really radical.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
He says trauma isn't just a brain thing.
Oh.
It's a full body response first.
It starts in the body.
He uses this intense example.
Okay.
Imagine seeing a kid get hit by a car.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Yeah.
Your gut clenches.
It does.
Breath catches.
Yep.
Heart races.
Heart pounding.
Right.
Right.
Those are instant physical reaction.
Immediate, before you even have time to think.
Our nervous system is like emergency.
Yeah, fight or flight mode kicks in.
And it sends these threat signals all over.
It's a cascade of hormones and signals.
There's this nerve, the vagus nerve.
Oh, the vagus nerve. That's a key player.
It connects the brain to the gut,
It's like a super highway between the brain and the gut.
creating this feedback loop.
A two-way communication system.
So it's like a gut feeling sending a message to your brain,
Precisely.
making the fear even stronger.
Yeah, amplifying that fear response.
That's the vagus nerve in action.
That's it.
Wow.
And that's why people under constant stress can develop things like irritable bowel syndrome.
Oh, interesting.
Their nervous system is stuck in high alert.
It's like it can't relax.
Exactly.
Now, this is where somatic experiencing comes in.
Ah, yes, Dr. Levine's approach.
Dr. Levine's approach.
Yeah.
Instead of just trying to change our thoughts,
Right. It's not just about positive thinking,
it works directly with the body
working with the body's wisdom
to calm those signals down.
to soothe the nervous system.
Exactly.
It's like instead of trying to reason with the nervous system, we're giving it a new experience.
A new felt sense.
To change the message.
To shift the body's response.
Exactly.
And he actually guides Max through this breathing exercise during the interview. Oh, really? Yeah, it's called VU breathing.
VU breathing.
And it specifically targets that vagus nerve.
Oh, I read about this.
You did?
It's about making a gentle VU sound on the exhale, right?
That's it, a gentle humming sound.
Like a hum.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It creates vibrations in your belly.
Vibration.
Yeah, subtle vibrations,
Yeah.
signaling safety to the nervous system.
Oh, wow. This deep dive just got interactive.
It did, didn't it?
You ready to give it a try?
Sure, I'm game.
Okay, so just take a comfortable full breath in.
Okay, breathing in.
And as you exhale, make that VU sound from deep in your belly,
Oh.
letting it all the way out,
VU.
and then just wait for your next breath naturally.
VU.
Let's do a couple more rounds of that.
Okay, focusing on that VU sound.
Notice what's happening in your body as we do.
VU. feeling those vibrations.
Well, I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but I actually feel a little calmer,
Right? Two.
actually.
It's subtle.
It is subtle.
Definitely there.
Like a gentle shift.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the power of working with the body.
That's the beauty of it.
Dr. Levine calls this a bottom-up approach,
Bottom up.
meaning we start with the body sensations
Starting with the felt sense
to heal the mind.
to work our way up,
And he's a big fan of combining this with top-down approaches,
like therapy.
like therapy,
Right.
for a more well-rounded healing experience.
So integrating both approaches,
So it's like addressing both the physical and mental sides of things.
addressing the whole person.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It does.
One thing that really blew my mind was Dr. Levine's observations about animals.
No, yeah, the animal connection.
He's noticed that animals are way better at bouncing back from scary situations than we are.
They are. They're incredibly resilient.
It's like they don't overthink things.
No ruminating, no dwelling.
Think of prey animals.
Okay, prey animals like deer or rabbits.
They experience threats all the time,
Constantly on alert.
but they recover so quickly.
They bounce back so fast.
They literally shake it off.
Shake it off, literally.
He calls this shaking and trembling, an instinctive way to release trapped energy.
It's like their body's way of resetting.
And get this,
Okay.
he worked with a war veteran, Ray,
Right.
who had involuntary movements stemming from his trauma.
Oh, wow.
By gently encouraging those movements,
So not suppressing them?
Ray actually found relief.
That's incredible.
Whoa, that's amazing.
It is amazing, the body's capacity to heal.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, lay it on me.
Dr. Levine starts talking about dreams
Dreams. Fascinating.
and how they've played a huge role in his life.
No.
Almost like guides.
Like messengers from the unconscious.
He had this recurring dream about Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein? No way.
Like Einstein was some kind of spiritual mentor,
That's wild.
handing him a box
A box.
to put in a safe.
What was in the box?
He felt like that box represented the knowledge of somatic experiencing he was developing.
Wow. So symbolic.
Hold on, it gets even wilder.
It does.
Years later, Dr. Levine finds out from his mom
Okay.
that Einstein actually saved his parents from drowning.
What?
They were canoeing.
Canoeing?
Their canoe capsized.
Oh, no.
And Einstein, who happened to be sailing by, rescued them.
You're kidding.
And get this,
What?
Dr. Levine was in his mom's womb at the time.
You've got to be kidding me.
So the man in his dreams,
The man who gave him the box.
guiding him towards this healing work,
Yeah.
was also the man who unknowingly saved his life before he was even born.
That's unbelievable.
Goosebumps.
Seriously, goosebumps.
I'm telling you, this interview is full of surprises.
Full of surprises.
Dr. Levine is really into dreams,
He is.
and it makes you wonder,
Yeah.
what messages are we missing in our own dreams?
What are we not paying attention to?
Right.
It makes you think.
It does.
Now, before we move on,
Yeah.
we need to talk about something really important,
Okay.
but sensitive.
Okay.
The impact of trauma on sexuality.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sexual trauma can be incredibly damaging,
It can be devastating.
leading to fear, pain, and dysfunction.
It can really affect intimacy in relationships.
And Dr. Levine is very clear that somatic experiencing can help
It can help with that.
by creating new positive experiences in the body.
So it's not just about talking about it.
It's about rewiring the body's responses.
It's about reclaiming safety and pleasure,
Exactly.
but never forcing someone to relive the trauma directly.
It's a gentle approach, respecting the individual's pace.
It's like gently rewiring the body's responses step by step.
Step by step, at a pace that feels safe.
So powerful.
It is powerful.
Okay, we've covered so much already.
We have. It's a lot to take in.
But before we dive into the next part,
Yeah.
let's just pause
Okay, take a breath.
and highlight some of Dr. Levine's core messages.
Some key takeaways.
Yeah,
All right, so first of all, trauma is treatable.
it is treatable.
It might be a fact of life, but it doesn't have to define you.
It doesn't have to define you.
2, the body holds the key to healing.
The body holds the key.
We can't just think our way out of trauma.
We can't just think our way out.
We've got to work with the physical stuff too.
We got to work with the body.
And 3, safety is everything.
Safety is everything.
It's about creating a space where people feel safe enough to explore their inner world
You feel safe.
and tap into that innate ability to heal.
The innate ability to heal.
Now, for those of you listening who are like, okay, this is all great, but what can I do?
Yeah, what can we do?
Dr. Levine has some practical tips.
Okay, give us the tips.
Like, next time you feel fear or anxiety, Try noticing the physical sensations.
Oh, interesting.
Where do you feel it in your body?
Where do you feel it?
What does it feel like?
Notice those sensations.
He also suggests using this little trick to distance yourself from negative thoughts.
Okay, what's the trick?
Try saying, I'm having the thought that.
I'm having the thought that.
It reminds you those thoughts aren't necessarily true, they're just passing through.
They're just passing through.
And he recommends 2 great websites,
Okay, hit us with the websites.
somaticexperiencing.com and traumahealing.org.
somaticexperiencing.com and traumahealing.org.
They've got info on somatic experiencing, finding practitioners, all that good stuff.
Awesome resources.
Now, before we wrap up this part,
Yeah.
Dr. Levine asks this amazing question.
Okay, what's the question?
What does living a genius life mean to you?
What does living a genius life mean to you? Wow, that's a powerful prompt to consider.
It is, isn't it?
It really is.
It makes you think about what really matters.
It does.
We'll be back in part 2 to explore even more of Dr. Levine's insights.
More insights to come.
And remember, even if you've experienced trauma, healing is possible.
Healing is possible.
There's a path to reclaim your life and live to your fullest potential.
There's a path forward
Absolutely.
to healing and to living a full life.
To living a full and vibrant life.
Yeah, I love that.
Me too.
Welcome back. So we're diving deeper into Dr. Levine's work on trauma and healing.
Deeper into trauma.
You know, in the last part, we talked about how trauma isn't just in our heads.
Right. It's not just a mental thing.
It's like our bodies hold on to it too.
It's embodied.
This whole idea of body memory.
Body memory, fascinating stuff.
It's fascinating. It's like those experiences.
Even the ones we don't fully remember.
Even the ones we don't remember, yeah.
They leave a physical imprint.
They leave a mark.
They get stored in our tissues, our nervous system.
It's like that saying, the issues are in the tissues.
That's a good one.
But seriously, how can our bodies remember things our minds don't?
That's the wild part about trauma. It's not always a clear story we can access consciously.
It's not like a video replay.
No, it's more subtle than that.
Interesting.
Sometimes it's held in these deeper memories, almost like muscle memory.
Muscle memory, but for emotions.
But for emotions, exactly.
That's a good way to put it.
And these memories can get triggered,
Triggered by things that remind us of the trauma.
leading to reactions that seem to come out of nowhere.
Out of the blue, like, why am I reacting this way?
Exactly. It can be confusing.
So it's almost like our bodies are trying to protect us from a danger that's not even there anymore.
Look like the body's still on high alert,
Still on guard.
even though the threat has passed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's one of the things that makes somatic experiencing so powerful.
Somatic experiencing, yeah.
Instead of just talking about the trauma,
Not just talking.
it's about tuning into the body's sensations.
Paying attention to the body.
The impulses, the movements that arise.
Listening to what the body's trying to tell us.
Exactly, letting the body lead the way.
So it's like giving those body memories a way to express themselves
A way to be heard
without being overwhelming.
in a safe and controlled way.
Right. And sometimes that expression might be shaking, trembling,
Those are natural responses to trauma,
even spontaneous movements.
like we saw with Ray, the war veteran.
Right, yeah.
Remember, by allowing those movements,
Allowing, not suppressing.
we help the body release that trapped energy
Like it's finally letting go.
and complete the stress response that got stuck.
That got stuck in the nervous system.
It's like hitting the reset button,
It's like creating a safe space for the body to heal itself,
a space where the body can process what happened.
to finally process, yeah.
You know, it's interesting. Dr. Levine mentions that a lot of people, even therapists, misunderstand trauma memory.
They misunderstand it.
He says it's not just a story.
Not just a narrative in our minds.
It literally lives in us, in the past, but affecting our present.
That's still with us.
It has a real impact on our lives.
It's a powerful way to put it.
And that's why just thinking differently about trauma isn't always enough.
We need to address that physical imprint too.
The body needs to be involved in the healing process.
So let's say someone's dealing with anxiety, physical symptoms, emotional stuff, maybe from past trauma.
Okay, someone who's struggling.
What's the first step towards healing?
Finding a safe and supportive space is crucial.
A safe space, yeah.
Whether that's with a therapist, a somatic experiencing practitioner, or even a trusted friend.
Someone you feel comfortable with.
It's about feeling heard, seen, and understood.
Feeling safe to share what you're going through.
And from there, you can start to explore those sensations, those impulses, those movements that are coming up in your body without judgment.
Without judging yourself.
It's like learning to listen to your body's wisdom.
To trust your body.
Your body has a lot to tell you.
Exactly.
You know, Dr. Levine really emphasizes this idea of approaching things gradually.
Gradually, not rushing the process.
He calls it titration.
Titration.
It's about finding that balance between approaching the pain and not getting overwhelmed.
Not pushing yourself too far.
Like dipping your toes in the water before jumping in head first.
Little at a time.
And he also talks about focusing on positive resources.
Positive resources.
Experiences that make you feel safe, loved, connected.
Things that bring you joy and comfort.
Yes. Remember the story he shared about the train set on his birthday?
The train set, yeah.
That happy memory became a resource for him later in life.
It helped him through a tough time.
When he was dealing with a really traumatic experience.
It's like finding those anchors within ourselves.
Those anchors of strength.
Those little sparks of joy and connection.
Those little glimmers of hope.
And it doesn't have to be some grand thing.
It can be simple things.
Sometimes it's a cup of tea, a gentle stretch, time in nature.
Those little moments of self-care.
That nourish the nervous system.
Nourishing the body and soul.
Speaking of Dr. Levine's work, you mentioned he's written some books too, right?
Oh, he has. He's a prolific writer.
So we could dive even deeper.
One that really digs into this body-mind connection is Trauma and Memory. Brain and Body in a Search for the Living Past.
Trauma and memory, okay.
It explores how trauma is encoded, not just in our thoughts, but also in our muscles, organs, even our nervous system.
It's all connected.
It really is.
So reading that could be like the next level of this deep dive.
Absolutely. A great way to learn more.
And for those interested in the therapeutic side,
the practical applications.
Waking the Tiger. Healing Trauma is a great resource.
Waking the Tiger, a classic.
It's full of practical tools and insights.
For working with trauma through the body.
Earlier, we tried that VU breathing exercise.
The VU breathing, yeah.
Are there other techniques people can use to help calm their nervous system?
Definitely. There are so many tools out there.
There's so many tools.
One that's simple but super effective is called orienting.
Orienting.
Okay, think about animals in the wild.
Animals, always on alert.
They're always scanning their surroundings.
Braking for danger.
Checking for signs of safety or danger.
They're so tuned in.
Their senses are on high alert.
Like they're fully present in the moment.
Right.
We have that ability too, but we often get lost in our thoughts and worries.
We do. Our minds can be very busy.
Our minds are racing.
Orienting is about bringing your attention to the present moment.
Bringing ourselves back to the here and now.
Noticing what you see, hear, smell, feel around you.
Engaging our senses.
It's like taking a pause to reconnect with the world outside our heads.
To ground ourselves.
And by doing that, we're sending a signal to our nervous system that we're safe, we're present, we're okay.
It's a way to regulate ourselves.
A powerful way to shift our state.
It sounds so simple, yet so effective.
Simple but profound.
It's like we're tapping into that innate ability to find calmness amidst the chaos.
That inner peace that's always available to us.
You know, another thing Dr. Levine talked about is the importance of playfulness and humor in healing.
Oh, I love that.
Sometimes when things are heavy, it's easy to forget to laugh.
We get so serious.
Playfulness helps release tension.
It lightens things up.
Shift our perspective.
Helps us see things differently.
Remind us of the joy that's still there.
That spark of joy that's always within us.
It's like giving ourselves permission to let go and not take ourselves so seriously.
To be more childlike.
Now, we've been focusing on individual trauma.
Personal experiences of trauma.
But Dr. Levine also acknowledges the impact of trauma on a larger scale.
Trauma that affects whole communities.
You mean how things like poverty, racism, and oppression can create widespread trauma and suffering?
Exactly. Those systemic issues have a profound impact.
It's like a collective wound.
He's a big advocate for societal change.
For creating a more just and equitable world.
For creating systems that support healing and well-being for everyone.
It's like we need to create a world where everyone feels safe and supported.
A world that fosters healing.
Both individually and collectively.
Now, I want to circle back to that amazing story about Dr. Levine's connection with Albert Einstein.
The Einstein connection, yeah.
The dreams, the synchronicities, the fact that Einstein saved his life before he was even born.
It's mind-blowing.
It really is.
And I think it points to something bigger.
Something beyond our understanding.
How we're all interconnected in ways we can't even grasp.
It's a mystery.
It's like there's this hidden web of meaning and purpose weaving through our lives.
And those synchronicities.
They're cool.
They can be like breadcrumbs guiding us on our own healing journey.
Like signs pointing us in the right direction.
You know, something that's always struck me about Dr. Levine is his deep respect for the animal kingdom.
He's like the animal whisperer of trauma therapy.
He's observed how animals respond to threat.
How they discharge energy.
How they instinctively regulate their nervous systems.
And what's so fascinating is that They don't get stuck in the same way we do.
They don't dwell on the past. They don't overthink.
They just let the energy move through them.
He calls this natural process of moving between activation and relaxation pendulation.
Pendulation, interesting.
And by understanding this,
We can learn from the animal.
we can learn to tap into our own innate healing abilities.
It's like remembering something we've forgotten.
Something that's always been within us.
That's the beauty of somatic experiencing.
It's about reclaiming our instinctive ability to heal and thrive.
Like the animals do.
Exactly.
This has been so insightful.
It really has.
I can't wait to hear what Dr. Levine has to say about applying these ideas to our everyday lives in part 3.
More practical wisdom to come.
We'll be right back. Okay, we're back and ready for the final part of our deep dive into healing trauma with Dr. Peter Levine.
This has been a powerful journey.
It really has. We've been exploring some really heavy stuff.
Trauma is a tough subject.
But it's important to remember that healing isn't just about the past.
Right.
It's about opening ourselves up to the present and the future, too.
Absolutely. It's about moving forward.
It's like trauma can sometimes trap us in those old patterns.
Yeah, those old ways of thinking and feeling.
Replaying those painful experiences over and over.
Stuck in a loop.
But somatic experiencing offers a way to break free.
To break free from those patterns.
And step into the fullness of who we are.
To reclaim our lives.
Right here, right now.
Embracing the present moment.
It's like hitting the reset button.
A fresh start.
Allowing ourselves to experience all of life.
Not just the hard parts.
Not just the trauma.
And Dr. Levine talks about how trauma can really zap our energy.
Our energy, yeah.
Our sense of aliveness.
That feeling of being fully present.
Even our ability to experience joy.
Yeah, it's like our inner light gets dimmed.
Like a shadow has been cast.
Making it hard to see the beauty around us.
The world loses its vibrancy.
Working with the body.
Tuning into our physical sensations.
Releasing that trapped energy.
Letting go of what we've been holding on to.
And reclaiming our sense of safety.
Being secure and grounded.
We can reignite that spark.
That inner flame.
That makes us feel truly alive.
That's the power of healing.
So it's not just about healing the wounds.
That's not just about fixing what's broken.
It's about reclaiming our joy.
Our capacity for joy.
Our passion. Our zest for life.
That vibrancy and enthusiasm.
You got it.
And one thing that really inspires me about Dr. Levine is his unshakable belief in our capacity to heal.
He's seen so much transformation.
He's witnessed incredible resilience in people.
He's like a beacon of hope.
Showing us that we can move through the darkness and come out stronger on the other side.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
He's big on the idea that healing isn't about erasing the past.
Right. It's not about forgetting what happened.
But integrating it, allowing us to move forward with more resilience and understanding.
It's like those experiences, those wounds become part of who we are.
Part of our story.
Adding depth and richness to our lives.
Like threads woven into a tapestry.
And sometimes those very wounds become our greatest teachers.
Yeah, they can teach us valuable lessons.
Leading us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
That's the paradox of trauma. It can also be a source of growth.
Dr. Levine leaves us with this powerful question.
Oh, what's that?
What does living a genius life mean to you?
What does living a genius life mean to you? Wow, that's a profound question.
It really makes you stop and think about what truly matters.
What's important, what's meaningful?
And I think the answer is different for everyone.
We each have our own unique definition.
It's about finding our own unique path.
Our own way of expressing our gifts.
Our own way of making a difference.
Making our mark on the world.
It's about embracing all of who we are.
The good, the bad, the messy, the beautiful.
All the parts that make us whole.
And recognizing that we all have something unique to offer.
We all have gifts to share.
Even if we've been through tough times that have made us doubt ourselves.
Trauma can make us question our worth.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's highlight some key takeaways from Dr. Levine's work.
Let's distill the wisdom.
First and foremost, trauma is not your fault.
It's not a sign of weakness.
It's a natural response to overwhelming experiences, and it does not define you.
You are more than your trauma.
And healing is possible.
There's always hope.
It might take time and effort, but there's always a path forward.
A way to move through the pain.
And remember, the body holds the key.
The body is our ally in healing.
By working with our physical sensations and responses, we can tap into our innate ability to heal.
We have the power to heal within us.
And lastly, never forget, you're not alone.
There's a whole community of support out there.
There are resources, people who care.
If you're struggling, please reach out.
Don't hesitate to ask for help.
There's no shame in seeking support.
It can make all the difference.
Dr. Levine talks a lot about cultivating a sense of safety in the body.
Creating that inner sanctuary.
Things like mindfulness, grounding techniques, and gentle movement can really help with that.
Simple practices that can have a big impact.
And he's a huge advocate for spending time in nature.
Nature is a powerful healer.
Whether it's a walk in the woods, gardening, or just sitting under a tree, connecting with nature can have a profound calming effect.
It's like hitting the reset button for our nervous system.
And as we continue on our own healing journeys, it's important to remember that healing isn't always linear.
It's not a straight line.
There will be ups and downs, times when we feel stuck, and that's perfectly normal.
It's part of the process.
It's about being patient with ourselves, allowing ourselves to feel all the feels, and trusting our inner strength to navigate those challenges.
We have the resources we need within us.
And remember, healing isn't about becoming perfect or invincible.
It's not about erasing our flaws.
It's about becoming more whole, more integrated, more compassionate, more alive.
Embracing all of who we are.
And as we heal ourselves, we ripple that healing out into the world.
Our healing becomes a gift to others.
So let's keep learning, growing, connecting, and creating a world that supports healing and well-being for all.
It's a beautiful vision.
It's been incredible diving into this with you.
A truly enriching experience.
May you find peace, healing, and wholeness on your own unique journey.
And may we all contribute to a world where healing is possible for everyone.
And until next time, keep diving deep, keep exploring, and keep trusting in the power of healing.